I'm going to call to order tonight's meeting of the Law Committee. Council, would you mind taking roll?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Kuhn.
Here.
Reedy.
Here.
Feeney.
Here.
Larilliard. Here. McLaughlin.
Here.
Platsky. Ricard.
Present.
Bergdorf.
Here.
And Whalen. Here. You have a quorum.
Great, thank you. I believe there is just one item on the agenda for tonight's meeting. It is the public hearing on local law A for 2025. Oh, wait a minute, sorry. Wait a minute. But it's, wait a minute, but isn't,
That's not to move that.
oh, we're just, oh, okay, all right. Local law U, excuse me, for 2024, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, providing for a change in the salary of a county officer during their term of office. So, Chair Cunningham?
You want to, oh, this is the first, the local law U.
Local law U.
Okay, so this is just reporting out the public hearing of local law U.
Yep. My understanding is that, given the new charter change that will be brought up tonight as Rule 11, that if the public hearing moves forward tonight, the local law itself will be tabled pending review and adoption of local law A for 2025, which is the charter amendment.
So why wouldn't we do this later after that was enacted or not enacted? Like, it seems like we're putting the cart before the horse here, so why don't we just save this for later? Why would we go do that? It doesn't even make sense, and I'm a lawyer. It's like, I don't know, it just seems like we should do this after.
Well, I guess there's really no reason not to go forward. We need to go through several procedural steps here. There's really no reason not to move ahead with the public hearing. I know you're saying you don't understand, but I'm not understanding why we wouldn't go ahead with the public hearing.
Well, because it's not even legal to do this. It seems like if we're enacting something else that will retroactively make it legal, like, why would we put this for public hearing if it might even be a non-starter?
Local law A for 2025 would not legalize this. Local law A for 2025, the Rule 11 for tonight, merely incorporates and codifies what is currently actually in practice and ensures that that is put into the charter to reflect what is actually taking place currently.
So if
It's not really a change at all. It's merely putting it into the charter what has already been in place for a number of years.
well, that's problematic, isn't it?
I'll recognize you.
Thank you.
Let-
Well, it's kind of on
let's-
point
Would
here.
it be problematic to have something going on that's not even recognized as... That sounds like a problem. I mean, you can't assume that we're doing something right that's not even in the charter. Obviously, we shouldn't have even been doing it.
Well, I can't speak to what's happened for years, some years to my knowledge before even I came, but this is just a codification of what is existing practice.
Right, so the charter change is to recognize, right now, as I understand it, there are certain legislative leadership positions that various members of the legislature have. Right now, the way the charter reads is that somebody's compensation cannot be increased during their term. However, people who ascend to a leadership position have been getting, during the term, let's say for the sake of discussion, Mr. Moriello steps down as the minority leader during this term, and you were to assume the position as minority leader. In that instance, the way that it has always worked is that even though it is during your term, your compensation would be increased because you would be assuming a leadership position. That has, from my understanding, I've only been here for 5 years, always been the way it has worked. However, that is technically not what the charter says. So what I think we're trying to do is, there's no argument, as far as I understand from a substantive standpoint, that what I just explained to you, that scenario, no one has an objection to that. We're just trying to, I think, the charter changes would codify and allow for that practice to continue. Does that
Mr.
make sense?
Yeah.
Now,
Mr.
Bergdorf's been patiently waiting.
Yeah, I've been patiently waiting because there is sort of an elephant in the room that nobody has recognized. which is County Law 200. That's state law. County Law 200 sets the restrictions for salaries of county legislators and allows for additional compensation for the chair, the majority leader, and the minority leader. No one else. That's section 200 of the county law. And there are controllers' opinions on this subject. And what we intend to do, I'm going to ask that this go back to committee because this appears to be blatantly illegal under state law, section 200. And I don't know whether you guys have looked at that or not. But there are also, we intend to ask for an opinion of the county attorney tomorrow and the New York State Controller, who has issued advisory opinions on this subject directly on point, which have prohibited adding stipends beyond this, beyond those three titles. So, and I think while, I don't know how our county attorney would opine, but the state controller obviously has to look at this from the perspective of 62 counties, 57 of which are outside the city of New York. And if we were to do this, this would set a precedent for 57 other counties to add patronage positions in the middle of terms, which is not what Section 200 of the law allows. Also, if we were to do this, it would create a precedent by which all of a sudden we could say the Public Works Committee chairman should have a $10,000 stipend. And we would, back to our prohibition, in the 50 years that this county legislature has been formed based on legislators and supervisors, there's never been a deputy chair before that's been compensated. It's always been a ceremonial position. Now, why we need to have the taxpayers of this county all of a sudden have another patronage position to do tasks, which the chair has done for 50 years until this cycle, is sort of beyond me. And I think we need to think about that. But also, this sets up a rubric in which, if your theory is correct, although it is not consistent with the charter today, so how the state law prohibits it, it's not in the charter today, but you guys want to go forward anyway. We're going to get some opinions, but I would ask you, while we're getting those opinions, could you please put it back in a committee? We generally have always had an agreement that we would not put something out for public hearing until the committee has had an opportunity to debate substantive issues. I think something as clear as a state prohibition against it falls into the category of substantive issues. And unless anybody here is willing to say the state law is wrong and that our charter can override it, but we haven't done that yet, but we may do it in the future, I think we're being grossly premature. And if local law U is adopted before A, the county charter would still prohibit increases from taking effect during a term of office. So how would you be allowed before changes in A are made? So that's I'm asking that this be sent back to committee. I'd like to make a
Well,
motion.
you keep
I'll
saying back to,
second that.
hold on, it doesn't make any sense. We're in committee. We're talking about it now. What do you mean back to committee?
Well,
This is the committee.
excuse me, I would suggest that this be tabled for another month while we are seeking opinions.
So, this is, as the chair has articulated, is a procedural step that affords the public an opportunity to weigh in. With that said, I am a neat and tidy person, and in the spirit of aligning the two public hearings on the same day, I will table this.
Thank you.
Until our next committee meeting.
Right, okay, that's
And
great.
then we will address both the charter law and the local law and the public hearings together.
Well, what I would ask is maybe the two staffs could get together, the attorneys, We are going to, as I said, request some opinions, and there are matters of law here.
Yeah, we
Not
got
just aligning policy.
Don't make me regret
Okay.
my tabling of my, my.
Motion to adjourn.
public hearing.
Do we have to make a motion to
I
table
did have
this?
my hand up. Say
Hold on,
something.
hold on,
Carolyn-
hold on, hold on.
Carolyn wanted to say something.
Okay, yes, I'm recognizing.
This section 200 that you alluded to, I'm not familiar with that. And I don't know whether it said specifically that it prohibits, or is that your interpretation of it names of increasing salaries. Now, you said it did name 3 positions. At the time that was written, did the position of deputy chair exist? And that's why it's not included in there. What is the process and the processes that we're undertaking? Will that include the deputy chair position being included in that language, or is that a whole nother state process that we have to go under?
I
to deal
believe,
with?
based on Mr. Bergdorf's representations, he's reading from the New York State County Law, Section 200, not a provision of the Albany County Law. So, does that, so.
No,
it
I
wouldn't-
understand that piece. So how, if we were to be trying to move this forward such that the position of deputy chair is included in that listing, what would that process be?
State legislation,
Amend it.
Right.
amend the
Which is
state county
lit-
law.
Right.
So, and if that does not take place, then does that mean that we can't do this?
Well, I think there's some legal discussions to be had. This is the first that I'm hearing of this, so I'm not in any position to answer that. But I think the lawyers will discuss it, and they'll see whatever authorities people are citing to, and then we'll resolve that. So
And
I guess, well, hold on, do you have any other?
No, I'm good with that. I mean,
Okay, I mean, it has been tabled, so
Oh,
I
I
don't
was
know
just
how
going
much
to
more
say,
we need to discuss
oftentimes,
this for,
Carolyn,
but-
you'll look at like when that was enacted to see if there was such a structure in place across the state. If there were deputy chair people in existence at the time that enact. You can go outside the 4 corners of the document and, look at that from a legal perspective.
and
But
at
anyway,
this point, that hasn't taken place.
Right, more to come on that.
We got a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All right.
motion to
All in
adjourn.
favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.